Rockstar Andrew Houston here with another tradie tip in how do we address this pricing issue where we constantly have prospects asking for better pricing, and like that's all that they talk about. So that's what we're going to be talking about today on today's tradie tip. So let's get right into this. I hear it all the time where contractors are faced with this conundrum, this challenge of always having prospects ask about, pricing. Like it's always the topic, around their interest level, and what they want to, converse on tends to always, start with and end with pricing. So how do we handle this? Like, what do we do to counter that? Well, I'm going to talk about that today. So there's really three core tactics. There's more than that, but we're going to talk about the three core tactics that can help you with this. First and foremost, it starts with you. If you don't understand your true value, if your value that you bring to the table is all about being the lowest price, well, then all you're going to be able to bring to the table is the lowest price. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is we need to start articulating, starting with us, in how we believe about our products and services around the value that we're actually going to be bringing to that prospect and eventually to that client. So we got to look at it through that set of lenses. We need to have it articulated. We need to have it, written down as a minimum, that we know exactly and our team knows exactly what are all the things that we bring to the table from a value perspective. Maybe it's that you're, rated on the Better Business Bureau so that you can be trusted. Maybe it's that you have the best, if we're talking about, let's say, service work, or maybe it's, from the aspect of doing, larger jobs, industrial, commercial, residential, that you are not just, hey, I'm the best quality, but you are actually rated as the best provider, that you've got the, greatest amount of reviews, whether that's on Google reviews or whether that's feedback from clients. Because, when it comes to quality, I hear it all the time. If you were to ask your competition, hey, how's your quality? Anybody and every contractor is going to say their quality is great, but we've got to differentiate in how we communicate that. So, down the perspective of, we have the most amount of reviews, or we have the most amount of surveys from clients that say that we are the best from a quality standpoint. Okay. You want to talk about your value as far as your ability to be on track, on time, and also areas around communication. Like, what are the things that you bring to the table from a value perspective around communicating? Do you share an app with your clients? Do you, have regular meetings with them? Like, what are some of the specific tactical things, instead of just statements, but the tactical things that you actually do to bring value to the clients? Maybe that you do some special type of assessment, throughout the different project. Maybe you get, the client's input along the way, and you have a data management system that actually is able to, gather that information, whatever those value points are. Notice I didn't talk once about the lowest price. So we've got to make sure, that we bring value, to ourselves, and understand what value we're going to be able to bring to the clients before we can bring it to the clients. So that's number one, be able to articulate your value. Okay. Internalize it first before we can externalize it. So let's talk about the externalized part of it. Now that we've got clarity of what our value is, the things that we bring to the table above and beyond our competition, what we want to do then is we want to be able to somewhat script it so that we control the conversation with the clients. If you let the clients control the conversation and all that they want to talk about is pricing, then that's all that they're going to talk about. So you need to take back control of the conversation. One of the ways of doing that is addressing their concerns and letting them know that they're going to be heard well in advance in your conversation. So how could you go about doing that? You can easily do that by just saying, I understand that one of the things that you want to talk about at some point in this conversation is going to be price. We're going to definitely talk about that. With that being said, I want to make sure that you truly understand, what are some of the things that you need to look out for, some of the things that you need to make sure that you're valuing when you're assessing picking a contractor. Now, why did I start off with a script like that? I'm trying to make you the authority. You want to become the authority in the conversation. You want to be looked upon as the authority specific to the space that you're in as a contractor, specific to your expertise. And by doing so, we need to take that position that we're actually going to educate the client and let them know, here are the things that you need to consider when picking a contractor. We're not saying, hey, go and pick us. We're not trying to do some slimy sales pitch, right? We're being authentic and saying, hey, maybe not that you're the right fit for my company, for my contracting company, but let's just make sure that I'm giving you the information that you need to do your due diligence to make sure that when you're picking a contractor, you're picking it based upon this criteria, by the way, beyond just price. Okay. Third, what is it that we want to do? The third thing that we want to do, and this is super, super important, is you want to make sure that when you are discussing things, with the client, that it's just as critical, if not more critical, that your team understands the true value that you bring to the table. So that is a bit of the internalized part and the externalized part brought together, because guess what? When your team is out there, it's not just about getting people to think about the value you bring before they engage with you. You got to get them to think about what is the value that that is brought to the table when you're working with a client as well. So when your team is actually working with a client, you need to make sure that your team is educated to explain to the clientele, some of the things that they should be aware of, some of that extra value, that could be walking them through, each phase of the project. So we're educating our client at this stage, what value we bring to the table. Okay. That could be showing them certain checklists. That could be, could be on the quality side of things. It could be from a information perspective. Here's how you operate such and such system. This is why you want to make sure you do maintenance at this, at these different intervals. This is why we're installing it this way. This sort of feature on this type of product allows you to do X, Y, and Z. Make sure that your team knows, not just at the prospect side of things, but definitely at the client side of things, the client facing side of things, what value you bring to the table. So those are 3 strategies that I guarantee you, if you apply those strategies, starting with yourself, thinking beyond just price, getting the client to think beyond price, and get your team to think beyond price, that you can take things to the next level. So that's it for this week's tradie tip, and I will see you on the flip side. Hey Rockstar, if this video resonated with you at all and you want a proven plan and pathway to take your contracting business to the next level with me and my team of experts, click the link below and apply for a free 50-minute pathway to Profits Call.